my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Tatum drives down and throws it down. Wow!
To throw, rainbows it down the right side for Kyle Pitts. He's got it. He's there. Touchdown. Oh, my.
Oh my indeed. Welcome back everyone to the Sports Bits podcast with Moko, here to talk about all things Boston Celtics. For right now, we'll bring back the Florida content in the summer when Media Day happens. So that's when I'm officially going to bring it back. But for right now, it's all NBA playoffs. We have a lot of play-in tournaments to talk about, at least the first round of the play-in tournament. We still have one more game tonight. One more game that's the last one of the play-in tournament, which is the Warriors versus Grizzlies. We will talk about that game and probably about the Warriors next week, because we're assuming the Warriors are going to win. So that's like our little prediction. I think it's going to happen.
I don't think that's really up for much debate.
Yeah, it's not really much. Yep, exactly. Not really much to debate about. But honestly, I'm going to let you, Reid, let you choose which game we talk about first, because honestly, I have nothing written up. So there's going to be a lot of free-flowing stuff. I have a few notes in my head about what I witnessed during the game. A couple of games that I did watch. I think I missed the Grizzlies San Antonio game, and I missed the Wizards Pacers last night, but that was a blowout, so there's not much there. But which game do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I also missed the Grizzlies Spurs game because I got my COVID shot and I just fell asleep because I was just tired.
Exactly how I was too. So the second one, right?
I watched the other three games. They were all the Pacers game was a huge blowout. The Wizards Celtics game I actually did kind of enjoy watching because Tatum dropped a fat 50 bomb.
He had 350s in the past 10 games or something, or the whole past month or something like that.
He dropped 60. He dropped multiple 50-point, 40-point, and 160-point games all in the past month or something like that. Mm-hmm. So he's clearly turning up for the playoffs, which even as a Nets fan going into playing the Celtics, I am excited to see him turn up a little bit because I know that he's capable of that.
Yeah.
But I really liked watching the Wizards Celtics game just because I liked watching how Tatum could, he really found his shot that game. You said you watched the game. I'm sure you saw the same things that I did. But he was taking a lot of shots and you were like, what are you doing?
I got scared. I got really scared.
He would book it, from pretty much anywhere on the court. So that was really nice to watch. I enjoyed watching that.
I'm just gonna say, first thing that came off the box score, because I watched the game, didn't really notice it, but Kemba and Tatum combined for 80 points out of the 118 points.
Yeah, Kemba actually had a very good game as well.
And then, of course, your boy Tristan Thompson scored 12. You know what I'm saying? He's useful. He's useful when Robert Williams is out.
He brings something. Yeah, I mean, he doubled. Tristan Thompson doubled, so good for him.
Oh yeah, but I mean, off the Celtics, what are your thoughts about at least the Wizards side? I mean, Westbrook played his part. We locked down I guess Westbrook and Beal the first half. I mean, Beal started to turn up the second quarter, but I saw Westbrook had a tough time trying to drive to the basket. His shots, I saw all the missed shot compilation during the game. They had one on the broadcast. I'm Westbrook is having a tough day.
Yeah, I watched the second half pretty intensely, and you just watched him throw up shots and they would just brick every single time. His shot just was not falling. And I heard the announcer say something where he's the kind of guy, Westbrook is the kind of guy to shoot through a slump that he's having.
Yep.
And I think honestly it kind of hurt them in the game against the Celtics because he took 18 shots. He made 6 of them, 33%. That's
0 for 4 from 3. I mean, he's not a great 3-point shooter, but still him taking 4 shots, I would relegate him to more of 2 shots a night from 3-point line. So
3s or something like that. But something that also jumped out to me was the fact that he only had 5 assists. And he's known as a guy to get triple doubles an absolute madman. So double-digit assists is nothing crazy to him. So the fact that he only got 5, I think, shows also that the Celtics were able to actually play serviceable defense against this Wizards team.
See, that's the thought. My thought about the defense-wise is that we didn't have Robert Williams, and we still, I guess Robert Williams in this game didn't matter because speaking of injuries, so we don't have Brown, we don't have Robert Williams, and I don't think the Wizards had anybody super massive at the.
I think Robert Williams played this game, but it says on ESPN it says he only played 4 minutes.
Never mind. He went out. He had his toe got aggravated again during the game. Yeah, but I mean, like the rest of the game, it didn't really matter if he was there or not because there's no big center threat or or big forward threat that we had to worry about. We will have to worry about that.
Yeah, like who the Wizards have? They have Alex Len and
Rui
Lopez. Like
and Rui Hachimura, if you count that. I mean, Bertans is but he's more of a stretch four, so you wouldn't put
and
Robert
honestly,
Williams on him.
Bertans has been playing like kind of pretty mediocre in these past couple games for the Wizards.
I mean, he doesn't really turn up in the playoffs, but I mean, he's a great average player. He's meant to be a 3-and-D like stretch four guy, but he made 0 from 7. So that probably did hurt him as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Speaking of 3-point, this is another thing I forgot to mention. This is another thing I was looking at the box score right after, but the Wizards score of 3-point percentage was 14%. That's the thing I was going to bring up. I forgot that was like the high. I think that was like my main stat. I was like, this is probably why they lost because Beal went 1 for 6, and he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. Ish Smith only had 1 3, so yeah. I mean, I feel like Davis Bertans should have made more threes, and
especially if he's
of course Beal,
7, and he misses all of them. That's a huge problem.
That's the main problem with the Wizards. I think that's the main key reasons they lost. But I mean, this also had me worried about the Celtics wise. I mean, we did go 33 from 3, but also our team overall did not perform at all. I mean, like we had Tatum and Kemba, and then look at the rest of the guys. Like, I mean, Fournier did his job. Most of these guys didn't shoot that well.
Yeah, the bench was lacking. I mean, you only had other than Tatum and Walker.
Walker.
Only Tristan Thompson had double-digit points.
Yeah, and you would expect Fournier to turn up. You expect at least Marcus Smart to get like 10, 15 a night. I mean, average. I mean, 15 is kind of high for him, but I think average between 10 and 15. I mean, Tristan Thompson did his job for replacing Robert Williams when he went out.
Yeah, and Evan Fournier had a bad night shooting. He went 3 for 11, 2 for 6 from 3. 8.
Tatum played 40 minutes too, which is crazy. I mean, the minutes also. Look at the rotate. Like, look at them. Do you have the minutes pulled up? Because look at our stretch, like our spread of minutes. Like, look at the starting lineup. All had like 30, 35 plus. And then looked at the bench, like all had
plays 30,
nothing.
And then everybody else is sub 15.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is hopefully we don't play like this against the Nets because we need to get like good rotations and get our stars rested so we can keep playing, keep up with Harden, KD, and Kyrie. Of course, we are playing example the Nets first round.
It's gonna be a tough matchup. I ain't gonna lie.
It's gonna be a brawl, but. Yeah, hopefully this is just a 1-game thing because I did not like how the Celtics played. Mine is, of course, Kemba and Tatum taking like, what is it, combined 56 shots? Yeah, combined 56 shots in total. I don't know. We need to find someone else to rely on for scoring. Hopefully Fournier can be that option. Marcus Smart can turn up a little bit.
I think it's got to be Fournier because what's Jaylen Brown's timeline? Like he's
out for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
we talked about this last week. So
including the rest of the playoffs. Yeah, so like he's gone, and he was like him and Tatum were the two first and second option for the team. So yeah, like Fournier has to turn up. Walker needs to stop shitting bricks.
I mean, he was 42% from 3, so I'd take that any day. So
no, for the second half of the season, he's definitely been playing a lot better. There's no doubt. But
I think it might be helpful
to remain consistent.
Yeah, I think it's been helpful that Brown has been out, so he's been taking more of that backup role to Tatum. I think that's better for him, especially like not being the third option. I think the second option is better for him. So I think he's doing all right. Like anytime Brown has been out, I think he's been stepping up where he needs to be.
Yeah,
but overall,
I do want to see him be more of a playmaker because I mean, still on the Celtics right now, it was 20 assists to the Wizards, 17 actually. So the Celtics actually have more assists. Never mind. But
that's still a decently low number, right?
Yeah, I want to see Kemba get more into a facilitator role. Then I mean, I think I've said that a couple times on this podcast, but yeah, that's going to be a big key to success for the Celtics, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, there's not much else to really talk about this game. We blew them out by 18 points, and I think we pretty much controlled the whole game. Yeah, there's no time. Like, I mean, I guess you can count the second quarter, but there's no time that the Wizards had a point advantage per quarter, minus the second quarter with 33 points from the Wizards and 25 from the Celtics. But every other quarter, we kept control. It's the Wizards, man. I don't know. They didn't have Thomas Bryant or anything that I would be scared about. But yeah, I mean, not much else to talk about in that game. I mean, unless you have any last comments, last minute comments.
No, I mean, I think that to look at the playing games, it is a little bit different, obviously, because it's a one and done game, So like when you actually go into a 7-game best of 7 series, it's going to be different. So yeah, just want to bring that up.
Yeah, this is a game seem really different. Like, 'cause you have the weight of a playoff game, but they're just one-off things, so you can't make mistakes.
Exactly. It's basically like a March Madness game.
It's basically March Madness, and for the first couple
it's NBA March
things.
Madness, and I think it's I don't know. It's weird. Like, how do you feel about the playing game?
Again, you can tell last week I didn't even know how the format was. Like, I was so clueless. Like, I didn't know, and I was like, why do we have this? Mm-hmm. And I guess it's great because I mean the Celtics would have been the 7th seed regardless. I think they would have won against the Wizards and kept the 7th seed, even if they had to play in tournament or not. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, they want to do it. Hopefully they don't keep it for too long. Like, if they bring it back, I don't know how I feel about that if they keep bringing it back. But
guess who's calling me right now?
Who?
It's James.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna answer real quick.
All right. No, yeah. I mean, I'm just going to keep going just because we do have a couple things. So I think we'll talk about the Grizzlies versus Spurs just because it was a really tight game. And it was funny because I'm going to do a little solo bit while Reid's calling James. And so I was watching the first quarter and you saw the score. The Grizzlies were blowing out the Spurs and it's just not a fun time to watch. And I was like, all right, the Grizzlies got this. I don't think the Spurs have a chance, especially if they let them go up by that much in the first quarter. I mean, what did you have any stuff to add on, or did you?
Oh well, yeah. So it was James, and he answers the phone. He's like, "Hello."
Okay, like, he's not getting up for this.
Yeah, and he was like, "I just woke up." I was like, "All right, like I'll tell Moko," and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I was like, "Yeah."
Man, yeah, I know. It's funny, because a little side thing that we were all texting like, yo, like, when are we going to get this thing recorded? Because, like, we're, like, right in the middle of the play-in tournament. Because if we recorded yesterday, we would have missed the Lakers game because we'd be recording during the Lakers game. I'm like, nah. And then you were right. You were right.
Me and James were driving home from Virginia.
That too.
We're both back in New Jersey now.
Back home. Everyone's back home. So Zoom's going to be taking over most of our podcast until we get back. But, yeah, I mean, it was a weird time to try to find a recording slot because you would either have to record at the end of the play-in tournament, but by the time this comes up, it would have been the first round of the playoffs. And if you do it too early, you don't know the outcomes of the play-in tournament. So I think today is honestly the best day just because we know the Warriors are going to win tonight. So yeah, I think we pretty much have our seating set.
We thought that now would be a good time to record, but apparently
somebody isn't awake for that. So
that's a classic O'Connor move, though.
O'Connor move, yes. James is sleep at 2 in the afternoon. So I'm just gonna bring it back to the Grizzlies Spurs. So I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna continue my point. So yeah, I cut the game off right after the first quarter, seeing them just blow them out, and the Spurs absolutely getting toasted. And then I checked the score later, like around the third quarter. The Spurs brought it back. So I saw in the second quarter they actually were able to keep up and add some points back. And also seeing Rudy Gay apparently was the star of the X factor of the Spurs that night at the end of the day. Because he was the one carrying that bench unit while everyone else, like all the guards like DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, were all like not playing as well as they're supposed to play usually in the regular season. So he was actually holding up the fort for the most part, along with DeRozan. Yeah, and it was great to see.
Even DeRozan had like not a great night. He went 5 for 21 from the field. And he went 10 for 11 from the line, which is where he got a decent chunk of his points.
I mean, that's still good to see from him. So I take it.
Rudy Gay, something got into him. But I remember watching the game. And he missed one, like at least one clutch free throw to bring the game within 3 points or something.
It's at the end of the game, yeah, because it was.
And then he cans this like crazy three. He was like a couple steps behind the line, and he just like books it right over.
Wait, DeRozan?
It was. It might have been DeRozan, but I can't remember.
Wait, who are you talking about that would can the three?
Rudy Gay hit the three.
Oh, Rudy Gay.
He hit it right over someone. I can't remember who it was, but it was a crazy shot, and like it would have been I think it would have either tied the game or brought it to within one or something, but he had missed the free throw. So then like it didn't really matter as much. And it was honestly just kind of kind of tragic to see, just because like Rudy Gay had such a good game and then he misses this one free throw and look, he kind of screws the rest of the game.
Let's see. I'm checking the play-by-play to see. Yeah, Rudy Gay misses 3-point jump shot from 27 feet. Where is that? So Rudy Gay makes 3-pointer at the 9-second mark. This is by DeRozan. Yada yada. John Morant misses. Okay, John Morant misses one. Okay. I was wondering who you talking about who missed it. I was like, oh, John Morant misses one of his free throws. But yeah, going back to it, I mean, as I was going to keep going through, I mean, I don't know. This game was really whack because I thought the Grizzlies had at least 120 points in them. They were going to blow out the Spurs. But that was just my original thought, leaving the game at the first quarter, because I wasn't really, too interested in this game, just because I thought the Grizzlies were going to blow them out. Like, you saw how John Morant, Dylan Brooks, even Valanciunas played really well. Like, usually he's not the
Valanciunas had a 2020 game.
Yeah.
He did a great game.
Yeah, he had 23 points. Yeah, 23, which is crazy to see, because I didn't think Valanciunas had that in him. I thought it'd be more John Morant and Jared Jackson taking most of the shots. But, I think Valanciunas did his job and played really well. Maybe that's a sign to come for the next game. If they want to upset the Warriors, maybe Valanciunas is the X factor if he keeps this up. Rebounding well and playing well.
Yeah, because I mean, we knew that Valanciunas can. I had no doubt in my mind that he was able to grab 23 rebounds. I think we've even seen him do it this season at
yes.
20.
Oh yeah, we had that one time. I think one of the podcasts we were talking about him getting 18 rebounds or something crazy number.
Yeah,
I was like, all right,
some ridiculous number. He's obviously a very good rebounder. I don't think there's any debate about that. But the fact that he had 23 points as well, we know he's a pretty good scorer. I'm pretty sure he's got to be averaging somewhere in the 18.
I can look. He's averaging 17 points this season.
17 points. All right, so he's averaging somewhere around there. But yeah, so if he can turn up and get a 20 points a night, then they're not going to have to rely so heavily on John Morant's scoring, and John Morant's going to have a really tough time scoring against the Golden State Warriors, because Draymond Green is going to be locking down the paint, and Ja traditionally likes to, attack the
drive. Yeah. He has a similar play style. So I think Russell Westbrook, he's not as big and athletic. I think he's about the same athleticism, but he's not as big, but he still likes to drive and attack the paint. And I don't see him taking too many threes, but
yeah, it seems like he doesn't like to shoot that much. But it works for him. John Morant's one of my favorite players. He's awesome.
It says a lot, because they only shot 22 threes in total that whole game, throughout the whole team. And usually it's mainly Dylan Brooks, Kyle Anderson shooting those threes. Kyle Anderson went 2 for 2 on 3-pointers, so that's good for him. I didn't see anything too crazy about this game. I mean, I thought it was going to be a blowout, but the Spurs, I texted in the chat, if the Spurs come back and upset the Grizzlies, Pop still got it, and he might be able to make some noise in the playoffs, bring whoever they're playing against, a 6-game series in the first round or something scary. But I guess their players didn't have the muscle in them for that game, because DeJounte Murray did not play well.
Do so much with the crappy roster he has.
Debatably crappy, but I think
even on paper, it looks pretty solid.
You got DeJounte, you got DeRozan. Keldon Johnson stepped up this season. So
Keldon Johnson stepped up. DeJounte Murray, had a pretty decent season.
Yep.
So on paper they look good, but something about them, they just did not mesh together, which is weird, because Pop is known as some guy who can just make dudes work together.
Yeah. He's I would say debatably one of the best coaches of all time, next to Phil Jackson. Oh, yeah. I would
Definitely
put him up there.
One of the best coaches of all time, for sure.
For sure. But yeah, there's not much to talk about that game. I just wanted to say that I quit on the game after the first quarter, and I thought it was going to be a blowout. That was my only 2 thoughts.
Yeah.
But then, and Rudy Gay, of course. But I think that we should talk about the biggest game of the night that I didn't even watch the whole game of, but you did. And I was an idiot not to finish it because I fell asleep right at the end of the third quarter. So,
oh man, dude, it was great watching this game, because it was back and forth pretty much the entire
Okay, obviously
time.
we're talking about the the Warriors versus Lakers, by the way, just so everyone knows, because everyone should know this game if you're an NBA fan. But if you don't, we're talking about the Warriors versus Lakers. So,
but it was really just exciting to watch, because it was neck and neck pretty much the entire time, and that's what I like. I like close matches, even if it's my team versus another team. I still want to see a close game. It's just more exciting. So yeah, this game was really fun to watch. LeBron, I'm sure you've seen the highlight, and I'm sure everybody else, the 3 other people that are listening to this right now, Also saw the highlight. He just hits a bomb three right over Steph Curry,
with his goofy 3-point shooting form. I hate LeBron. That's the one thing about LeBron. I hate his shooting form. He still makes it, but that goofy shooting form he has. I can't like take myself seriously every time I look at it.
Yeah,
but he still makes them though.
But yeah, I mean, dude,
it's
wet.
Thing.
It's wet still, and
there we go.
He hits it right over Curry in perfect Curry fashion. Like I totally could have seen Curry hitting the exact same shot over him.
Yep.
And honestly, I didn't actually. I mean, he hit that shot at like I think there was 9 seconds left or something.
Yeah. The Warriors still had another chance. Like I think they fumbled the timeout, and that's why they had.
Right. So 58 seconds. LeBron hits that shot. Like I said, absolutely crazy. And then I know. Yeah, the Warriors got, their other possession. They missed, got it back somehow, or the Lakers came back. But I remember in the last like 5 seconds or something, the Lakers played really good defense on the Warriors inbound play. And I don't know if like Steve Kerr is necessarily known as this kind of guy, but like we've seen the Warriors have very solid inbounding plays to get Steph Curry the ball, pretty much every time because that's what they want to do.
And they have the assets to do it, like Steph Curry, who can run around everybody. So
yeah, and
basically, it's a floppy. He can run a floppy with Curry and this floppy play at 2K.
No, I don't.
You don't know? Okay, I use it all the time. So basically, if you have the court,
the only play I run in 2K is a pick and roll.
No, okay, so it's basically a pick and roll. So I'm gonna explain this real quick. So imagine so like if you're like a point guard at the top of the key, you have your guard on the right wing. And he runs around the baseline, has like the center and the power forward set 2 picks. And at that point, running around all the way to that side, he's open. That's basically Curry. He pulls up in the left wing. Mm-hmm. I love that play for like whatever reason because it works.
I didn't know the name for it, but I've definitely seen them. I've seen the Warriors run that, like 100 times because they just they want to get Steph the ball behind the 3-point line.
Running floppy every possession.
Exactly. But no, I mean he ended up fumbling it. Kind of was tragic, but honestly, it was a good game. I liked watching this game because also watching one of the most interesting things for me was watching Draymond Green play defense on AD. Because I think
a quick thing before you say this, right? A quick thing before you continue. He is a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. He's
in the top 3. It's Gobert, Simmons, and Draymond Green. Because Draymond Green's been playing great defense this season, but
offensive, he's a different story.
Offense, we don't want to talk about that as much.
Yep.
But no, he played great defense against AD. AD has like at least 3 inches on him, I think, and probably like a decent. I would say like maybe 20 pounds. I don't exactly know. Just off the top of my head. But AD's obviously bigger than him. So watching Draymond be able to like actually play really solid defense against him was pretty incredible. And it was a big part for them too, because we know how big of an offensive piece AD is to the Lakers.
Oh yeah, and he still turned up. By the way, I'm looking at the play-by-play because I was looking at the play-by-play just because I didn't watch the final minutes. But look at this. So at the 7-second mark, Draymond Green rebounded the ball. And then the Steve Kerr did not call a timeout to the 2-second mark. I was so confused that I remember watching one of my NBA YouTubers like, why the hell did they not call a timeout when Green rebounded? I was like, why?
I remember that happening. I was like, what the hell? Yeah.
They brought the ball down. They had called a timeout. I'm like, why? And then you had 2 seconds to make a play. And then of course Blazemore can't make a pass because he's not a clutch guy. Like he's not a clutch playmaker like Chris Paul or something like that. And then KCP, of course, gets a steal and they lose. But still, that was terrible.
Yeah. I do remember seeing that. But
there you go.
Looking at it on paper, I'm like, what the hell? Why did he wait 5 whole seconds to call? Maybe because he was waiting to see if there would be like a transition shot.
I don't know. Usually you would want to do it I know the traditional ways, everyone just like timeouts and just bring the ball down and just run an inbounds play. But I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. It's really weird. Also, not to mention Alex Caruso got an offensive rebound and they missed a layup. And we're not going to talk about that. Point being, they messed up the timeout. They had 7 seconds. They could have easily ran a play in 6 seconds to get Curry open.
My only thought is because he was trying to look for a shot in transition. But I don't even think Curry was bringing the ball up in transition. And like if you're looking for a 3-point shot in transition, like he's your dude. So I don't know why they wouldn't have just called a timeout.
I don't know.
Passed him the ball. Like I don't know, man.
Exactly. That's
weird final seconds of that game for sure.
yeah. Yeah, of course, with the LeBron 3, that's the only reason why it was like that. It was going to go to overtime until LeBron decided to
also,
pull a LeBron.
Did you see his Draymond's foul on LeBron?
Yeah, and then he was like injured on the floor. I was like, crying about it.
Yeah,
like, it's Draymond, boy. You're bigger than him. Stop crying about it.
I was like, what the hell? And then
I don't cry when a smaller guy hits me, all right? That's the thing.
He was also saying that, like, he was seeing 3 rims and, like, he just aimed for the middle one. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, there's no way that you got hit that bad.
Okay, I thought I know LeBron's a tough dude, man, but like I'm just like, when I play basketball, at least I try to make sure that I don't get dazed by someone smaller than me. If I do, I get pissed because like I know I'm bigger than this dude, and I know I should be able to bully him, and even if he hits me, I should be able to power through that.
Yeah, exactly.
This is just based on my height, weight, etc. But I'm comparing it to LeBron and Draymond. It was like the best defensive player versus the greatest of all time. So
yeah, I was like, dude,
I don't know
what's going on. I don't know how that happened.
Anyway,
yeah, I think LeBron was overreacting to it, but I mean, that's just me.
When was that? Was that like the last final seconds, or was that like in the middle of the fourth? Because
I think it was like somewhere in the middle, like towards the end.
Because like I don't know if he was trying to burn clock time like they do in soccer, where they flop and they like wait like 10 seconds to burn clock time at the end of the game. Because apparently that's a thing in soccer I actually learned about from my friend who played soccer. The reason why they flop and they're all like very eccentric about it is because they want to burn clock time at the end of the game, so that gives less possession time for the other team to make a play.
Yeah, well, I mean that's part of it, and also like they want to get the foul too, but like you also have to like keep in mind for like stop, like they kind of counteract that like low key with stoppage time.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, what? There's no point to that because soccer the clock keeps going. So I'm like, why? Whatever. Again, that was a weird. I saw that and it was just whack. But whatever. They did what they did, and they still won. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Still pulled it out of their bum.
I mean, no, I'm not trying to say like LeBron was like trying to waste the clock or anything like that. Because I mean, we know that the clock stops, but I don't know, dude. I think he was over exaggerating the foul a little bit.
Yeah. Again, this is like
maybe the fact that he saw 3 rims. Like I don't know if I really.
Okay. Come on now. Just say you got hit and just take your foul, boy. Don't
take the foul seriously.
Come on, take the foul and get your free throws, boy. Don't be saying about 3 rims and crap because you're gonna be saying like, oh, I got 3 rims on the free throws, why I missed both of them. Like, stop.
What are you talking about, man?
If you need to sit out and take like a couple minutes, then get back in there and dominate. Yeah, anyway, I mean, other things than that. I mean, Caruso had a great night. I mean, I was happy with that. And
Bald Mamba coming in.
Bald Mamba. And also mentioned Schroeder. I mean, he had an okay night. I'm just looking at the other players. I mean, there's not much like the highlight other than AD and LeBron, which might be a problem if they're playing the Suns, which have multiple players that can be dominant.
Have a really deep bench.
And not to mention their defense. I mean, yeah, that too. And the Laker defense is okay. And it's my worry. Like, I'm going to preview the Suns-Lakers thing real quick, like the first round. I'm worried that they're not going to be able to guard Chris Paul and Booker at the same time. Like, they're going to be able to have LeBron on like Booker maybe, and then they're going to have to put somebody on Chris Paul. Like, who are you going to put there? Like Schroeder, KCP?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are like decent, but they're not like great defenders who can like lock down Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. So this is my thing. And then you're leaving like Mikal Bridges open on the 3-point line with that kind of defensive scheme. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. I mean, they should not be playing Andre Drummond at all with AD and Harrell.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Why did they give him minutes? I don't know. That's probably why they lost.
I mean, he started. Andre Drummond started for the
why?
Lakers. I don't know.
AD should be the permanent 5 along with Harrell throughout the whole playoffs, including the play-in tournament.
Like, we were sitting on the couch watching the game, and we like watched him like get up and like go to half court at the start of the game. We're like, what are you doing? Like, where are you going?
People were saying Drummond's going to make the Lakers a finals team. Like, no, he's not. He's not that great. He's only a rebounder. His defense is mediocre at best, and his offense is not bad
as well.
Subpar at best.
He had 4 points on the night. Granted, he only took 3 shots, made 2 of them. So, good on him for not taking stupid shots. But still, I don't know. I just don't see him being like a big.
He's a defensive and offensive liability.
Yeah, seriously. Like, all he's gonna do is really grab rebounds. And at that point, you already have Anthony Davis, and LeBron. They all have the ability. Both of them have the ability to grab boards. So I don't know.
and Montrezl Harrell, who's honestly a better offensive option than Andre Drummond.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know why they would really give him that many minutes.
You can tell this podcast is very free flowing because I did not have any structure to this. I just wanted to see what came up.
I wrote no notes as well.
The last thing
I'm kind of liking it. We're just taking it
The last thing I want to talk about the Curry Light show that he put on. I just like the last thing, of course, because he went. He went for 12 for 23, which is pretty good. But he went 3 for 9 for 3, and made almost all of his free throws. And throughout the whole game, you could tell he was dominant. And I'm happy to see Curry still be Curry at his age, and he's probably going to be able to play a couple more years like that. And then hopefully they'll have some better pieces around him by hopefully if they next year after, so he can actually make a good playoff run.
In. They definitely have to bring some pieces in. I mean,
Clay does not need to get injured either. Clay should not get injured first game of the season.
Honestly, I feel like if he's out for another year, at that point,
they're screwed.
You need to. I hate to say it, but you honestly might have to give up on the dude because it's I love Clay because he's a great 3-point shooter. He had 37 points in a quarter. He still holds the most threes in a game record.
Yep.
He's a good player. I love Clay.
But he's injury prone.
Exactly, and it's you've been out for so long at this point. It's it's honestly almost just it's a DeMarcus Cousins situation.
I would think. I don't think he didn't fall off as bad as DeMarcus Cousins, but he just got injured so many times.
Exactly.
Killed him.
And it's to the point where you're even if you do, it's also similar to KD. KD had a bad injury, right? Comes back and he plays great, but he never plays.
Yep. He has the same injury as KD. He has a right Achilles injury. It's the same
they both
KD.
have an Achilles injury. Exactly. So it's possible to come back from an Achilles injury. KD has shown that he can at times, but it's he just doesn't play enough games. I'm pretty sure he's played in somewhere around half or less than half of the Nets games. I don't even want to talk about how many games our big three has played together. Yeah, that's just embarrassing.
Oh, I was gonna bring that when we talked about the Celtics versus when we previewed the series, but I think that's the last playing game. I mean, do you want to talk about the Wizards, Indiana Pacers, or even the Warriors tonight? Because I assume the Warriors are going to win tonight, unless you have something to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the Wizards smacked the Pacers, and I see the Warriors beating the Grizzlies.
Okay,
not terribly, but I see them winning for sure.
I mean, quick thing about the Pacers, before we end talking about the play-in tournament. Do you think the Pacers, if they get Miles Turner and everything back, do you think they'll be a good playoff team next year just based on their performance this year, just with Sabonis alone and maybe Brogdon?
I think so because they're a little bit under 500 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the season's over, but so they finished with just under 500. And while Turner was in, they were playing great because he's such a solid defensive anchor for them, in the paint. And Sabonis is a pretty good defender as well, but
he's mainly offense. I think mainly the offensive guy.
Side. And Miles Turner is more on the defensive side, but both of them also have aspects of the other side. Miles Turner can still get 10, 12 points a game, a couple rebounds and stuff like that.
Way more rebounds than that. And blocks too. I mean, he's leading the league in blocks before he got injured.
A game, which is crazy. But no, definitely. I see the Pacers being a good playoff team. But who I think the main thing for the Pacers right now, if they want to really become a threat in the East, what they need to do is the person who needs to turn up is TJ McConnell.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. Because Brogdon has been on and off the season. I don't know, he hasn't been consistent as he was on the Bucks. So I think TJ McConnell is that X factor on the bench for next year, and they re-sign him.
He played great in the game against the Hornets. I'm pretty sure. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure he had a really good game, and it shows. Yeah, so he went 8 for 12. This is the Hornets game, so we're kind of backtracking a little bit.
All right.
But he went 8 for 12. He had 17 points, 5 boards, 3 assists in 25 minutes. I think that's really solid production from a guy from 25 minutes who's coming off your bench.
By the way, he is up. His contract is up at the end of the season, so they'll have to re-sign him. And it could be a sign that they may lose him because he's played so well. Another team might latch onto that and see, maybe he's a great point guard option for our team, and they might try to take him away from the Pacers. But We'll see who he goes with in the
great
offseason, but I think he's a really good player and he can definitely do good wherever he goes. But yeah, let's move on to the main staple of tonight, which is the preview of the Nets Celtics, because that's our game.
Sure.
Both of our games. I'm glad you came on because I would not be able to talk about that alone.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, James would not want to talk about the Nets at all.
Yep. First thing I had to bring up, because I actually have the actual number when you talked about like the big three, your big three, like the amount of games they played together is only 10.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole 72 games, they've only played 10. They're not all in a row. They're not all in a row either, so they have no chemistry with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, what are your thoughts on that firsthand? Like, what are your thoughts about like them not like playing together? Like, how does that make you feel? Like, what are we thinking with that?
As a Nets fan, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, as a Nets fan right now, I am terrified because we have so much pressure on us.
Yes.
It's championship or bust at this point. You know, I mean, it's been like that. Arguably since we had KD and Kyrie, but since we got Harden, it's been official. It's championship or bust, no doubt.
Yep.
So we have all this pressure on us right now. We have three of the greatest players in the NBA right now, and all-time list, is a different debate. But
I think currently NBA they're all top 10, guaranteed.
Yeah, they're all solid, fantastic players. They just haven't played together, and it's like, what's going to happen? Like when you actually, like all three of you get on the court, like I know that obviously they all have good enough IQ where I don't anticipate it to be like, oh, what do we do? Like, it's not going to be that bad. But like, I can totally see some offensive problems coming in because all three of them, Harden, KD and Kyrie, Harden stepped into more of a playmaking role this season. I think I've said that probably a million times.
Yeah.
But, he stepped more into a playmaking role, so he's not as much on the ball offense anymore. But like KD and Kyrie are, on the ball offense, so they need the ball to really do the damage that they do.
Agreed.
So I don't know, dude, it's really tough. But like one thing that I will say gives me hope as a Nets fan, is watching our bench kind of play.
Step up.
Yeah, because like we've had a lot of players. We have Bruce Brown,
Landry Slam it.
Landry Slam it.
Slam it. It's Landry Scam it.
Landry Scam it. So Landry Shamit's playing awesome. Bruce Brown, I think I might have said Bruce Brown already, but
he's topped off. I definitely and you have Nicholas Claxton.
Nick Claxton has been playing well. Uncle Jeff has been playing really
Uncle
well.
Uncle Jeff.
Love that nickname for him as well. Because
Joe Jesus. You got Joe Jesus as well. Is Joe Harris actually? Is that as actual? No, that's not an official nickname for him. He has Joey Hoops and Beef Jerky Joe.
Beef Jerky Joe.
That's according to Basketball Reference. His nickname is Beef Jerky Joe.
I mean, I kind of like Beef Jerky Joe, but I think Joe Jesus came to fruition this season when we found out that he shoots 47% from three on the season.
Hey, where do you think Beef Jerky Joe came from? Because of course you're the Nets fan. Do you think you know the reason behind that? No? Okay.
Not a
all right.
Where could have possibly came from. I have no idea.
His love for beef jerky is clearly the reason why.
He might be a big beef jerky fan.
I don't know.
No, it's like, watching the Nets bench turn up has been really nice because it also shows that, like, all right, when the big three is off, because that was a huge like concern for us once we got Harden. We were like, what's going to happen when all three of them are off the court? And like we don't have all of them. So like, what's going to happen then? They've shown, like, our bench pieces have shown that they can turn up for sure. So like, I think it's going to be a really interesting series, and I think it's going to rely on a couple key players, mostly for the Celtics. I think you guys, like I said, or like you said as well, like Marcus Smart needs to start, dropping like 10 to 15 points a night.
Yep.
Evan Fournier needs to turn up because Jaylen Brown is out, and Jason Tatum needs to remain consistent. Kemba Walker also needs to remain consistent.
Yes.
Like, I think all those pieces, you guys.
It's just a consistency problem with us. I mean, what are the X factors for the Nets? Like, because I know we talked about the Celtics a little bit earlier, but I'll go into the Celtics later. But like, what do you think the X factor for the Nets to keep this alive and they don't screw this up in the first round? What do you think they need to do?
I honestly have no idea because it's like, is there even like an X factor? I mean, like we have three of like the greatest players in the NBA.
Or maybe just like think of like a scheme or like a play options maybe for them.
What needs to happen is Harden needs to not take dumb shots because we know he used to take some pretty.
He takes those 7 step backs and then shoots the three.
Yeah, exactly. Like he needs to not be taking shots like that, while he was in Houston, and he hasn't been. So like, I'm not too worried about that. KD needs to remain efficient as well. If he takes, 15 shots, I expect them to go down. And if he doesn't do that, then like, he's going to be, it's going to be an issue, I think.
Yeah.
And Kyrie needs to also, take, like, I don't know, dude, it's just really tough because it's like you think about all the pieces that we have and it's like, can you really rely on like one single piece for this team to really do well? And I think just for me, off the top of my head, the main thing is Harden needs to, fully embrace the playmaking role in the playoffs. We've seen Harden do mediocre in the playoffs while he was in Houston, but now he's not the main shot taker.
Nope.
He's not the main shot taker. So I think I can definitely see Harden's playmaking ability and his ability to be able to facilitate the Nets offense. I think that's going to be a big part because like I said, I mean, we have all these pieces, but if no one is there to really make it all fit together, then, we're screwed for sure, which is also a big credit to Nash. I think Nash has been making our system work really well.
I was surprised because I originally thought Nash wouldn't be too much of a factor just because they have those 3 big stars and just going to rely on him. But I think Nash has made a pretty good system, and I think Harden has adopted a really good off-ball role. Like I don't think he's like great, but I think he's serviceable as an off-ball player when Kyrie's on the floor or KD's on the floor, for example. So like the games they have played together, I think they've played pretty well, which worries me, of course, because I'm going to talk about the Celtics right after we finish this.
You should be scared. You should be very scared.
I am very scared because as again, I bring up with the Celtics side at least, Tatum and Kemba Walker have shown they are not consistent throughout the whole season. And that's if Kemba and Tatum can stay consistent throughout the whole series, we can bring this to 7 games. And Marcus Smart and if Robert Williams can come back from his toe injury, I think that's going to be a big factor to us playing really good defense, having those 2 guys being like big dogs on the court.
A strong defensive presence,
for
sure. But I think Marcus, to me at least, just like Marcus Smart is going to be more of a factor on defense than Robert Williams, just because the Nets don't have, like, I mean, we have Claxton and DeAndre Jordan. Like neither of them. I mean, Claxton is obviously, I love Claxton, he's great. But neither of them are super like paint like beast, where it's like, oh, we have to lock them down, It's like, so like I feel like Robert Williams being able to lock down like Claxton or DeAndre Jordan is definitely a good thing, but more so it's gonna be on the perimeter and like in the mid-range area. Because Kyrie likes to operate in the mid-range, the 3-point area. And same with KD. KD loves his mid-range shot. So like you're gonna need good defense in the mid-range for this to really be able to stop these dudes.
See, that's my thing with with an offensive game plan for Brad Stevens. Hopefully he can make one because I think he's a decent playoff coach. My thing is that if Rob Williams comes back, he'll be able to lock down the paint. I think he can 2v1 anybody in the paint. Like he can like help on the guy that's driving up and then potentially get back on the center and block him if he ever needs to. And that which allows our 4, whoever's at the 4, to pop out and help the perimeter. And also help in the mid-range area, which is the main problem, I guess, as you said, for the Nets. Really good mid-range shooting team. So they have to have some sort of way to help out on that because Rob Williams, if he steps outside the paint, you're leaving the paint wide open and he's not fast enough to get back there to help cover, example, Claxton if Claxton has the ball in the paint. So
and also like you said, if Robert Williams steps out of the paint, he's going to be too slow to get back. And Kyrie, Bruce Brown, even Jeff Green, they're all fast. They're all quick enough to be able to get exploit, and they're all smart enough too. Like they all have like pretty good IQ, honestly. Watching them play, like they clearly understand the other team's defense, and they can kind of make their offense work based on the other team's defense. So Brad Stevens is definitely going to have a solid defensive game plan, especially in the mid-range, for this series to really be competitive. Because I mean, I hate to say it, man, but like if you guys,
we don't have the offensive firepower. We lost that with Jaylen Brown. We lost that. If we had Brown, we would have a chance with offense. But since we don't, we have to rely on Brad Stevens' defense.
If you guys don't play defense, then this is going to be a
5-game sweep.
Game series.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
this could be a gentleman's sweep, honestly. So
it could be a gentleman's sweep. Like that's the worst case scenario. I think we could at least win one game. I think that's worst case, and I think best case we bring this to 7 games.
No, I can see,
or even win. Like that's the lowest chance, but I think potentially we can win this if everything falls into place. As I've been talking about earlier, keeping consistent, having everyone step up on defense. One thing I've been looking on and off about is like the Knicks, how Tom Thibodeau has revolutionized their defense and made everyone care about defense because they're a top 5 defense in the league. And it's all because of Thibodeau. Because like last year, their defense was crap. Thibodeau takes one offseason and makes that a top 5 defense.
Yeah, seriously. So, I think, it should be a testament to how powerful the defense is as well. Because I know so many NBA teams are going away from defense, but like the Knicks just clinched the 4th seed in the East after
with defense.
With defense after not making the playoffs since 2013. Like I think that should definitely speak to having a solid defensive game plan.
Well, that's also like the impact of a coach on defense. Like if Brad Stevens took the same mentality with Tom Thibodeau, we'd be like a top 5 team right now. But Brad Stevens is not that. And if he somehow changes it, I'll be surprised and I'll give him props. But right now, I don't see him as that, right? I don't see him as like a Tom Thibodeau type, influence on defense. He can prove me wrong.
Tom Thibodeau type.
Yeah. Those are the 2 coaches that I've seen this year that's really stepped up on defense wise. I mean, Spoelstra is consistent, but I think Tom Thibodeau has really changed his perception of how he's looked in the league.
Clearly it works, I mean, again, with Miami, whether or not you want to call them a fluke or not, but I mean, still the defense, it's definitely more important than I think teams are making it out to be.
Yeah. I think we have the personnel to play good defense. It's just that we need to have the players care about defense. Like Julius Randle did not care about defense until Tom Thibodeau came there and beat him into shape type of deal.
Beat it into his head, and now look at him. Yeah, he's playing solid defense, great offensive player. And but I mean, even Tatum has been playing, good defense. Good defense,
yeah. I'm actually appreciative of that because finally that Tatum's stepping up.
Usually he's mediocre to serviceable on defense, but recently he's been playing actually you're okay, this is a factor on defense. If you put him on the guy with the ball, you could possibly force a pass or something like that. So definitely, I think it's going to rely on a lot of defense, and it's also going to rely a lot on guys who typically are not considered good defenders for the Celtics to step up and play even just serviceable defense.
Exactly.
You can't rely on Marcus Smart and Robert Williams to be your only defensive pieces against a team that has only offensive pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll quickly before we get off this, I want to see what the Nets defensive rating this year, because I think they're not bad. I think they're middle of the pack on defense.
I think we're somewhere in the middle, because I know we're not playing great defense.
Yeah, I mean overall. So let's see. Oh, they're actually. Oh yeah, they're 23rd. They're first in offense though. First in offense, 23rd in defense.
No surprise there. But yeah, exactly. So also that's another thing why I'm scared. As a Nets fan, is going into this. It's we have all this offense, but we also have no defense.
What if you encounter the Heat out of nowhere, who have an incredible defense?
And then we realize we have no defense, and the Heat have defense and offense. Now what?
Yeah. Now what are you gonna do with that?
Yeah. What are we? We're gonna start jacking 50, 60 threes a game.
Yep. One thing I want to see can I find the bracket? There, it's a bracket. I want to see, is it possible they aren't in the same bracket. I want to see the Knicks versus Nets, but the Nets are on the bottom half of the bracket and the Knicks are on the top half. So the only way we'll see that is in the Eastern Conference Finals if they both make it.
They're going to meet in the conference finals. I think it's going to be honestly. Yeah, no, I think the Knicks can make it to the conference finals for sure.
They have to go through the Hawks and then assuming the Sixers if they win the eighth seed. So
I think all right. So maybe all right if they're playing the Sixers, maybe not. But I know I can definitely see the Knicks beating the Hawks for sure.
Oh, easily. But they're a great defensive team, so I'm not worried about that. But I'm just since I think that's pretty much wrapping up the Celtics. I would just say if they can keep consistent, play good, make the players care about defense, and play their strengths and make sure they keep taking good shots and just I think it's all up to Brad Stevens. That's mainly everything I'm saying is all up to Brad Stevens coaching schemes, etc. So that's like Brad Stevens plays well, we have a chance to make it 7 games. So that's all I wanted to end with, unless you have anything to end with the Nets side of it, because I want to go into the rest of the playoffs because
I said pretty much else. I'm very excited to watch this series specifically because I know it's going to be a decent bet. Like if everyone like really comes to play, it's going to be a very interesting series.
It'll be a light show to see, just like the Lakers Warriors game last night.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to go through every single matchup in the East and the West and just give her like 1 minute take on it. And like, what are your thoughts? Like, who's going to win? And with who do you think is going to win off your last comments? Right, let's move up the bracket and let's go to Milwaukee versus Miami revenge series. What are your quick thoughts on that?
That's the first round series.
First round series, 3rd versus 6th.
I haven't looked at the bracket since the playing games have ended.
So I can run it down on the Eastern Conference side. So we have on the top, we have 76ers versus Wizards. We got Knicks versus Atlanta. And then on the bottom half, we have Milwaukee versus Miami. And then we have, of course, the Nets versus the Celtics. So let's go up and let's move that 3 versus 6, Milwaukee versus Miami. Quick thoughts on who you think is going to win right now.
Off the top of my head, I want to give it to Milwaukee this time around because we know that Miami has played solid defense against Giannis. However, the Bucks did add Drew Holiday this season, and Drew Holiday is a really good defender, solid offensive player, and a good playmaker. So I can see Milwaukee pulling up with a win this time.
All right. I'm actually going to counter you, and I'm actually going to pull the underdog and pull the Heat. I believe in Eric Spoelstra, and also I think Spoelstra will be ready for Drew Holiday. I think that's the thing about me is that Spoelstra is a really good coach, and I think he's already game planned for Drew Holiday's like addition into the team. So I think he's going to run a similar game plan to locking down Giannis, but I think he's going to also, since they have a decent amount of guards that are pretty good at defense. They got, of course, we've been talking about it. We had the big 4, Nunn, Dragic, Duncan Robinson, and Hero, all really good offensive, defensive players. So I think they'll have a game plan ready for them, and I think he can bring it to 7 games. And I think they're going to pull out a win in the 7th game. I think it's going to go to 7 games, and I think they'll win in the 7th game. That's how I'm going to predict it. We'll see if that lasts.
No, that's definitely a solid take because like I didn't actually think about Eric Spoelstra as much. No, because
I value coaching a lot, at least in when I care look at teams. I value coaching and how those players mesh like with the coaching scheme. And Jimmy Butler really made those young players into what Spoelstra needs on defense.
Absolutely.
With his mentality.
I think we've talked about it so many times. Like he's been just like the off and on court leader that every team needs.
Exactly. So you have the Bucks, I have my Heat. We'll see what happens next week when the few games go through and we can we can revisit our take. I'm probably gonna still keep it regardless of what happens. But I'm gonna actually gonna lock that pick right now for Miami and 7.
Unlock. I don't know. That one's more of a toss up for me because like I'll probably watch the first game and then decide because like you said, if I see like Eric Spoelstra really like factor in Drew Holiday and be like, all right, we already know what he's going to do. And like, they actually can execute a defensive game plan against him effectively. Then I'll be like, all right, Miami can definitely take this. But, if Drew Holiday, he's sneaky, he's a little sneaky. So you never know what he's going to do. So he could, maybe bypass whatever Spoelstra has in store for him. And then if that's the case, then like, I could see Miami Milwaukee taking the series.
Yeah, not to mention they haven't added anybody too crazy minus PJ Tucker and Jeff T, which are like bench players. So nothing affecting the big 3, like the big lineup. So next game on the list is Hawks versus Knicks. Quick thoughts, and who do you think is going to win?
I think this one's also interesting, but I'm leaning definitely more so for the Knicks. Just because the Knicks have, to me, like you said, they have a really good defense. They have a really good defensive game plan. Thibodeau, I'm sure he already has plans on how to lock down Trae Young.
I hope so.
Or maybe, I hope so as well. But I'm sure he already has plans on, how to deal with Trae Young, how to deal with John Collins, how to deal with Clint Capella. I think it's going to be more difficult dealing with Clint Capella because they don't have Mitchell Robinson, right? Mitchell Robinson hasn't come back for the Knicks, I don't think.
I'm trying to remember who they have at center. I'm going to actually quickly, I'll let you know who they got. They have Nerlens Noel, which is a pretty serviceable center.
Yeah, he's decent. But I think Clint Capella is definitely going to be able to bully him. But so I don't know. I think that like Thibodeau's going to be able to look at and lock down the main pieces, the main pieces of the Hawks offense. And I mean, I don't think the Hawks don't necessarily have like bad defense, but they're also not like necessarily premier defense.
Yeah.
Team, right?
Clint Capella is the only defensive guy I see on the Hawks that really can do some damage. But is that your take? So how many games do you think currently? You got the Knicks? How many games?
Knicks in 6.
6 and 6. These are all we're all throwing these takes out, and I'm not locking any. I'm not gonna like confirm or lock anything. Minus, I want to lock down that Miami Heat win, but I mean, just for the Hawks side, I agree that the main pieces are going to be locked down. So I think it's going to be up to guys like Kevin Huerter and Danilo Gallinari to step up, and Okongwu on the bench as well to step up and see what they can do, along with Cam Reddish, I guess, too. And they have an addition of Lou Will. I think that's been a great addition for the Hawks.
Oh, true, actually.
They added Lou Will, and what I've noticed in the last games I've watched with them, he's basically the the discount Trae Young on the bench. So they've been able to keep the same play style on the bench as well with Lou Will as their, I guess they're like big point guard with Trae, when Trae Young's on the bench. So I'm actually going to say probably Knicks in 7, just because I think the Knicks will win, but I think their offense is not as powerful and not as explosive as the Hawks to get them to like a 6 or 5, even a 5-game series. But I think they'll be able to win it out, just like barely scrape it out. I think Julius Randle will really have to step up. Because I mean, he's defending against, he's playing offense against John Collins, debatably like mad defense at best.
No, I can definitely see. Like, I think for the Knicks to pull out with a win, Julius Randle is going to need to like average 30 points on the series, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's if they have that, and that hopefully will open up the perimeter for RJ Barrett and Quickly, who have been shown to be really good this season. So hopefully they'll be able to pull it out.
I'm like nervous about
and D Rose on the bench. So
who's on the bench?
D Rose, who's been playing really well.
So D Rose has actually been like a huge factor for the Knicks as well, because he's been playing only like 17, 18 minutes, like to 20 minutes a game.
Yep.
But he's still like having like serviceable numbers. But RJ, like, I'm scared about RJ Barrett because I know he's been pretty inconsistent this season. So like he needs to really be able to like find his shot, because his shot hasn't been falling consistently this season. I think that's his main problem. But yeah, I mean, if he can really find his shot, like you said, from 3, especially since like they're gonna, I would assume that the Knicks would probably try to clog the paint a little bit. With
you mean the Nets? Oh, you mean the Hawks are gonna try to clog the paint?
Yeah. So I think they're probably gonna try to clog the paint. So I would imagine that if RJ Barrett can actually really find his 3-point shot, then I think they're going to have a lot more success on offense.
All right. The last Eastern Conference game, we're actually making this way longer than it needs to be, but we do have the whole Western side, by the way, to talk about as well. Like quick take. But yeah, I guess we're not going to talk about the Hall of Fame stuff. I mean, we'll talk about that in some other time when we have more time about it. But let's go 76ers Wizards. Sixers in 5.
Yeah, definitely. Gentleman's sweep. I see it.
All right. We're going to keep it as is. I think Russell pull out one win.
I can't really say. I think everyone knows exactly what we're thinking.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think the Wizards will pull one win out, but I don't see them getting blown out. So fun one. James is not here for this, and I think he'll give his take next week when we have a couple games under the belt. Suns versus Lakers. What are we thinking for this one?
That's going to be interesting. This one's tough. I see Suns in 7. Just because I see the Suns pulling out, just because I know like Chris, like the Suns don't have any experience, which I think should be a little nerve-wracking for them. But other than that, like they have really solid offensive pieces. They have a pretty good defense. Like DeAndre Ayton in the paint. Book and CP3 outside. Like they're great shooters. CP3 is a great playmaker. I definitely see the Suns pulling up with the win on this one, but I think it's going to be a hard fought one because regardless of whether or not LeBron is at 100% or not, like it's still LeBron James, he still have 100%. To play against LeBron James. So it's not going to be an easy win for them by no means, but I can see the Suns pulling up with a win in Game 7.
I'm just gonna say I can't bet against LeBron James. I have to say LeBron James, and I have to say LeBron James in 7.
Yeah,
LeBron James in 7.
You're gonna have to put that team.
Okay, he lagged out. But yeah, I think Lakers in 7. I can't bet against LeBron in the playoffs, and I think he'll at least make it to the Western Conference Finals against whoever, and I think that's when he'll lose because I think he'll either have to play I'm gonna predict the next few quickly. The Nuggets, obviously. I think the Nuggets will obviously win against Portland. Probably in 6 games. I don't have anything really. I mean, they lost Jamal Murray, but I think they'll be fine with MPJ and was it MPJ and MPJ and Jokic. How can I forget that? MPJ and Jokic. But yeah, I think they'll be fine with the lineup they have right now. Composite's been playing really well, so I'm not too worried. And of course, Reid lagged out, but I'm going to continue going with this. Yeah, Jamal Murray's out, but I think they'll be able to pull out the win in 6 games. I think, of course, playoff Dame is deadly, and I'd be scared of playoff Dame. So I'm not too worried that the Nuggets will lose. I mean, it's highly possible. Oh, there you go. Look, he's back.
That was I thought it was actually going to be like a whole process trying to come back in, but
no. I had turned off the waiting room and stuff. But yeah, I was talking about I was going over the Nuggets, Blazers, and I was just quickly saying that like you can't playoff Dame is going to at least give them 2 games. So I'm saying Nuggets in 6. I think MPJ and Jokic is just too powerful in offense, and their defense is pretty good. Like overall as a team defense, because I think MPJ is really good in defense. Michael Green has been that Jeremy Grant replacement that they really needed at the 4. And, I mean, Compazzo's a defensive liability, but I think he makes up for it on offense.
He's 5'10".
Exactly. So he's 5'10".
No, he definitely makes up for it on offense. So wait, what was this one? This was Blazers,
Nuggets. Blazers, Nuggets. I had Nuggets in 6. So playoff Dame might prove me wrong. It might be Blazers in 7. I don't know.
I'm saying Dame is really dangerous in the playoffs. But no, I mean, I could see Nuggets in 6. I want to.
You don't have to say the same as me.
No, so I mean, I want to say. I don't know, man. I want to say Nuggets in 7 just because I feel like Dame is going to pull up more so. But at the same time, I also definitely see the Nuggets pulling up with the win at the end of the day.
Yeah, I see that too. Oh, this will be an interesting one. Ooh, Mavericks versus Clippers.
That is going to be an interesting one because I remember watching that series. I remember watching that series last year as well.
Did they really play each other last year?
Yeah, they did in the first round. It was the Clippers actually.
The Clippers it was 2 versus 7.
They had a good series, and then they go to play the Nuggets, and then completely fell apart.
Yep.
But so we've seen this series before. Mavs, Clips. I want to give it to the Clippers this time, but like we all know what happened last time when everyone thought the Clippers were going to win.
Yeah.
Oh geez, I don't even know. I mean, I feel like
you want me to give my take before you go. You have yours. You want to think about it a little bit?
Let me think. You give yours.
All right. So first thing, obviously, new guy on the block, Serge Ibaka, big man on the paint. Probably one of the best centers they've had, and it's a good replacement for Montrezl Harrell. And I think he fits the system way better, allowing Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to get more shots, which they need to. So second thing, they added great shooters like Nick Batum. And I think Nick Batum's a great shooter off the bench. And I mean, overall, they're losing Lou Will wasn't too big of a hit. They have DeMarcus Cousins now. So if that matters.
The Clippers have DeMarcus Cousins?
Because the Clippers signed DeMarcus Cousins. But he's injured. He has a foot injury. So
he's injured? Are you kidding me? Bro, how long is this guy going to be in the league?
In the league, yeah.
So yeah, he's been in the league for like 3 years. And how many games has he played? Like
2.
It's got to be single digit.
Yeah, it's like 2.
I mean,
yeah, but overall, I mean, the roster on the Mavs hasn't changed too much. Minus Willie Cauley-Stein has been a serviceable center to give Kristaps some rest time. So I'm going to say Clippers in 6. I really think Luka is the man, and I think he'll just bully both of the 3-and-D guys on the Clippers for at least 6 games. And they can pull it to 7 like they did last. I mean, they went to 6 games last year. So I think it's about to be the same repeat.
Exactly, but that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds about right because I'm not going to pull that up, but I think they went to six games, and I think it'll be the same thing again because I think it's their defense overall. The Clipper defense is just too powerful for Luka because it's basically a 2v1 if you really think about it with Kawhi and PG.
Exactly,
So,
both of them are great defenders, and like even
they can switch on. They can switch on and off each other and just like give themselves time and double them.
Yeah, they're both perimeter defense. I know like both their post defense is like.
I mean, Kawhi is better, obviously better, but.
Yeah, but no, I mean their perimeter defense is where both of them shine. So I think that,
and I think Kawhi could easily lock down Doncic because he's probably people crap on Kawhi all the time, but I think he's an underrated player, and I think he's obviously one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, or probably the best.
Yeah, and Doncic is easily frustrated as well. You know, like if you can like get a hand in his face for like his first couple shots. Like I think he's gonna get frustrated, and like he's the kind of guy where like if you can get into Doncic's head, like I think you can really kind of like tear him apart.
Dude,
like,
he's only 1 year older than us. Like he's still very young. So
isn't that crazy, dude? Like he's literally like if we were, he would be going into like his senior year of college now because we're going into our junior year.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's crazy. But I don't know. I mean, like I feel like Luka can be easily flustered, and I think that if the Clippers can fluster him, which I think they will be able to, because like Kawhi and PG, I think he's gonna have a hard time finding a shot. Yeah. So
I think the stick man might get injured. Kristaps Porzingis, the stick man, might get injured again, just like KD.
100%. He did last series, or
so
like game before the series or something like that.
Yeah, he did get injured, so he might with the big, Serge Ibaka's big man. I think he's gonna bully him. So I don't have too much faith. I mean, I was saying earlier in the season that Luka was going to be my MVP, but he has not shown anything to be MVP worthy this year compared to like Chris Paul and LeBron, everybody else. So last one. Oh yeah. I mean, do you have any last comments for the last couple of games we talked about?
Yeah, Doncic just kind of had not a bad season, but just disappointing. Because
you want him to take another step up to be like that next LeBron, but he hasn't.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people were waiting for him to, get the MVP this year, and he's not even in the top 3 now to get it because I think it's just like he didn't have, like I said, he didn't have a bad season. It was just really disappointing for the expectations that a lot of people set for him.
Yep, including myself.
So maybe maybe I'm not giving him enough credit, but I don't see him. I don't see the Mavs pulling up with the dub over the Clips.
Yeah. Last one, obviously, we're going to assume the Warriors are winning this. So the Warriors versus Utah. Utah sweeps in 4. But no. Wait, Utah in 5 just because Curry's still there. Oubre's injured and Clay's injured. So I don't think with the overpowered shooting and rotations and defense of the Utah Jazz, there's no way. There's no way.
There's literally no shot. The Utah Jazz have, I think, honestly, they're one of the most well-rounded teams. Yeah. Well-rounded team. No, the Jazz are definitely one of like the most well-rounded teams this season. They have like they're shooting the lights out from 3. Like for no reason. It's like they don't even have like, other than Donovan Mitchell, like when you look at their roster, like no one like jumps out at you and you're like, that's a superstar. Like they have all these like, under the radar kind of guys who have turned up this season. They're shooting the lights out from 3.
2 six men of the year, Jingles and Joe Ingles Jingles and was it Jordan Clarkson? Both 6 men of the year candidates.
I thought Jordan Clarkson started.
No, they're both 6 men of the year, so I'm assuming they're both 6 men at one point. So.
Oh right, because that already came out. Duh. Okay. Yeah. Duh. But yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. Like they have such a solid bench. They have such a solid offensive system as well. Like just watching their team, like they have great ball movement. I think they're going to be a tough matchup for any team, but especially like a subpar Warriors team right now. I think
Warriors currently subpar. I'm sad to hear it, but subpar Warriors team.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I mean they're missing like some of their biggest pieces.
It's funny because like you remember back in I'm going on a little side tangent. But remember in 2016, 2015. When we're saying like, oh, the Warriors dynasty is going to be there for like another 10 years or some crap, and it's going to make the NBA trash to watch.
I wasn't even an NBA fan back then, but yeah, people are like, oh, the Warriors are going to win the next like 10 championships.
They're going to ruin basketball. I'm like, no. I mean, sure, for like the next 2-3 years, but like I'm pretty sure they're going to break up. just like every super team does, like MJ with the Bulls and
Exactly.
who is it?
With everyone,
Crap. Who was I thinking? Oh, Shaq and Kobe. They broke up. Who else? I had this. I had a couple.
There was that big three with Kobe, Gasol, and
Nash,
but they failed to begin with.
Yeah. No. Here it was. The Celtics. Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Garnett. That's what I was doing. I was
honestly,
thinking
that was almost like a big four because of Rondo as well.
Rondo, yeah, because they were all
playoff Rondo.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. Actually, hold on. Rondo's playing on the Celtics? Not on the Celtics. He's playing on the Hawks now, right?
Yep.
So
no. He got traded. I'm pretty sure he got traded
again. I thought he got traded to the Hawks.
Yeah, he is currently on the Clippers. Oh, they traded Lou Will for Rondo. That's what it was. The mid season mark.
Oh, right. Jeez.
So that even makes the Clippers even more dangerous.
That just gives me more reason to think that the Clippers are going to win. Because playoff Rondo is a different animal.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, wait, I forgot about Rondo. He was like on the Clippers. Like, Clippers.
Same until we just brought him up. For the Celtics.
Yep. I was like, why is Lou Will on the Hawks? I'm like, oh wait, they had a trade mid-season. But there's not much to say. They're just all great shooters, great system. Quinn Snyder is up for Coach of the Year. So I don't know. I don't know what the Warriors can do to like bring it to give them 2 games on them. I don't know.
Steph Curry's gonna have to drop like
60 points. He's gonna be like Jason Tatum. He's gotta be like Jason Tatum.
Yeah, seriously. I just don't know if I see that happening. I mean, Steph has proved, people wrong in the past. So like, who knows? He is crazy. Who knows what he's gonna do? But I don't know. I mean, can he really carry his team in a best of 7 series past one of the best teams in the NBA right now?
No. A lot of people. It's funny enough. Like my closing statements about the playoffs is that everyone's betting LeBron's gonna win, regardless. Like have you looked at my thought is have you looked at the path he has to take to get to the finals?
Seriously,
I know he's done it before, 2016, but I don't know.
I mean, even in the West, he's gonna have a difficult time because what's the first matchup is with the Suns.
Yep.
We were just talking about that, so already that's gonna be a tough matchup. And I think both of us said that, or you said Lakers are gonna win. I said Suns are gonna win. But
I can't bet against LeBron.
That's already going to be a tough series for him. Then, if he wins that, he's probably going to have to play the Jazz at some point.
He has. Yeah, he's played the Jazz in the Eastern Conference Finals if they make it there. But then his next matchup is either Denver or Portland. So.
Yeah, and both. I mean, Portland not as much, but Denver definitely is a threat. The Clippers as well.
If they end up doing that, somehow upsetting the Jazz.
Exactly. The Western Conference, it's not gonna be easy. And then even, assuming he gets to the finals, he's gonna have to play realistically one of 3 teams, and that's gonna be Nets, Bucks, Sixers. And I don't know, man. It's just he has a really difficult path. It's not an easy.
Hey, he's LeBron. It's LeBron, though. It's LeBron. You can't. Everyone says you can't bet against LeBron, but it's. Yeah. I gotta see it to believe it. For me, I'm very conservative on that sense. I don't want to just put all my money on LeBron right now. Because like we just said, dude, he has such a difficult path. Who the hell knows what's gonna happen? With this series. Exactly. I don't know. Well, my eye's gonna be on LeBron this whole season. I always want to see if the Celtics can bring it to 7 games, and the rest of it, we'll see what happens. Because I don't think the Celtics are gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals anytime soon. So
unfortunately, sorry, but not gonna be your year.
Look at the Nets though. They get to be in the dominant super team in the East for the next 2 years, whenever their contracts end up.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, but like I said, dude, I mean, if we lose in the first round,
that'd be pathetic.
I'm gonna have to burn all my jerseys. I can't be seen next year.
You gotta burn you gotta burn your Durant jersey. You gotta burn
Yeah, dead ass. I'm not gonna be able to it's gonna.
Dude, I get to wear my Tatum jersey with pride if we beat the Nets the first round. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna wake up every morning, put on white makeup, big fat red clown nose.
It's that meme is like, we're not going to blow in the first round. We're not going to blow in the first round. KD and Kyrie will carry, Harden will carry us. Yeah, we're going to win. And it's just the last clown just smiling. That's going to be you if you lose.
It's really scary. I don't know. Seriously, can you imagine what's going to happen if the Nets lose in, let's say, the first round right now? If the Nets lose in the first round,
it's by 7, I'm assuming that's the only way they're going to lose. So
what?
I said by 7 games. This is the only way they're going to lose. There's no way the Celtics pull out a 6-game series. Yeah,
but let's just assume hypothetically Celtics pull out with the win in the series, no matter how many games it goes to. The implications that has on just everything is tremendous. It's okay, so it shows that KD, Kyrie, and Harden clearly cannot
carry a team.
Yeah, exactly, which is ridiculous. To think about, that's absurd. KD will be labeled as probably the most hated player in NBA history.
He goes to every super team possible and loses. He won with the Warriors, but the point being, he can't win with his own team type of deal because he's technically the number one option. Because I think you could say debatably Curry was the number one option again, this is up to debate, but you could say debatably Curry was the number one option in the Warriors because he's more impactful to that system than KD, because KD can just be plugged in anywhere at this rate. So.
But so KD would be the most hated man on the planet for at least a decent amount of time. And then all Nets fans will have to hibernate for the next 5 years, and we won't be able to come out. Barclays Center, ghost town. It's gonna be dead.
It's gonna be dead.
One's gonna go to those games.
And Celtics win doesn't prove anything, because I think Brad Stevens should get. Well, he might or may not get fired if at the end of the season.
I mean, hey, bro, if the Celtics pull up with the win over the Nets, I think that's huge for.
Without Jaylen Brown, that might cement Brad Stevens' career defining win or something like that.
Absolutely incredible. But at the same time, I also think the Celtics are in a really good spot now that
we're in limp. No, we're not in a good spot. We're in limp. We're in playoff limbo.
No. Because here, listen to this. You're in a good spot in the playoffs right now for 2 reasons. On 2. Whatever, I'm just gonna say it. So you got 2 options, right? It's you either win against the Nets or you lose against the Nets. Let's say option 1, lose to the Nets. Yeah, everyone would be like, okay, that's expected. We're like, all right, whatever, cool. Finally, everyone's gonna be like, oh well, the Nets won, fucking finally. And then it's going to be like, all right, Celtics, lost. It's like, okay, now you just got to wait for next year. But then if you win, it's like, holy crap, we just pulled up an insane upset. So you guys are in a really good spot right now. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, okay, inside Celtics circles, a lot of people are talking about potentially, this is the extreme side of it, but potentially trading Tatum and blowing the whole team up, just because this roster has only brought us to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that was with Kyrie's help before he got injured in the Eastern Conference Finals.
You made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year as well.
We made it 3 times. We made it one with IT, and that roster's gone. One with Scary Terry, but half of that roster's gone. And no Al Horford. And now we made it last year, but that was a fluke. I'm going to say the bubble was a fluke, because there's no way. I didn't see us. How did we win against? Wait, did we play the Sixers?
You played Toronto. You took Toronto to a 7-game series. That was actually a great series.
Toronto. Yeah. Yeah, yada da. There was no Kawhi on there. Kawhi was on there. He would have smacked us in the playoffs.
And Pascal also had a horrible performance.
A couple games, yeah.
Absolutely horrible performance in the bubble.
So point being, there's a lot of arguments to say that our team has not accomplished anything with this roster and they want to blow it up, or we would have to trade for a great player. Because I remember back, this is I guess this is my last point for the podcast. We've been going for about an hour and a half. It's a little exhausting, I just realized. But my last point was that back when AD was on the trade market before he went to the Lakers, there was a trade rumors about trading Tatum and a couple of young, Scary Terry and Tatum for AD, and we would have a lineup of Brown, AD, and whoever else we had on the bench, which was going to be amazing. And I would have taken that personally, because especially how Brown developed this year. Think about it. If we had an insane Brown and AD on this lineup, what could have been? What could have been with the Celtics team?
The weirdest thing about that is just trying to picture AD in a Celtics jersey.
Yep.
That is one of the weirdest things to me. But yeah, I think that would have been an awesome pickup for you guys. Because then it would have given you like Robert Williams could have been gone into the backup center role, but for good reason, because like this last time, like he was there this past season, he was there for no goddamn reason. He should have been starting. But if you put AD there, that's a runner up for defensive player of the year for last year. A guy who can easily get you a double every night. Big ass dude. Like I think that would have been great for you guys, but at the same time, Brad Stevens would have had to kind of, figure out how to work him in with the system because he's not a great shooter necessarily. So I think, he's like a decent shooter.
Wait, was AD traded in 2019 or 2018?
Was he traded? I think he was traded in 2019. I think.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Because
LeBron had like at least one season on the Lakers where they
didn't have him.
Yeah.
He was on the Lakers. Yeah. So it was 2018, 2019 season that he was. So it was 2019, 2020 that he was on the Lakers. So it was a 2018 to 2019 season. Our roster, the people we would have had to trade for AD, probably we had to trade, of course, Horford for the contract. And then we would probably have to trade Tatum. And then where's the guy I was looking for? Terry Rozier or Kyrie. Like we would probably have to trade either Kyrie Irving or Terry Rozier and Tatum, along with Al Horford for contract reasons. I think
if you traded Tatum and Kyrie, you probably would have gotten something more than you would have gotten AD and then some, because those are two solid pieces. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think it would have been really a good pickup because AD is also like a good consistent player, but because he's pretty consistent. But at the same time, it's like he's not. We're not in the locker room, so we really don't know how these guys actually act. But just based on what I see, like he's not a leader, because he left the Pelicans. He had the option to lead the Pelicans franchise or go to the Lakers and play with LeBron.
But he didn't win with the Pelicans for how many years, so that's why he left.
Yeah, but like the point is, like he could have led that whole franchise. He could have been their franchise player, and he decided to go to the Lakers. So I just don't see him being like a big kind of leader guy, especially when they like go into the Celtics. Like, I don't know. I think it would just be a weird dynamic to me.
Yeah, because if you had to trade, if we had to give up Kyrie and Tatum, the next best player is Brown, and then you would still have Gordon Hayward. You would still, if you had to trade Horford or not, you would still have Horford if that was still a thing. And that's it. I mean, you have Scary Terry on the bench. That's it. There's not really anything else that sticks out to me that, that could like see it be a playoff team that could like go to the finals minus AD and Tatum and Brown. That's it. Because we would have to give up two young players for him. Like just like the Lakers trade, you would have to give up three young players for him. So I'm going to pick my three young players as Tatum, Terry Rozier, and I don't know, one other player, and then probably Horford or something for contract reasons. I don't know. I forgot what the trade was.
Even if you do give up all of that, like bringing AD in, but getting rid of Tatum, like, does that really make the team like championship worthy?
That's the point. I think it would take one more year, but also that's another thing. He was on a 1 year rent. If we traded it for him, it would be a 1 year rental with AD. So
really?
Yeah, because the contract was about to end in 2019, so we had to re-sign for the 2019-2020 season. So that's another thing we had to consider, is that he was a 1 year rental. Like we would either have to win now, or because like he could just like we could like lose in the second round and he could just leave and go to the Lakers anyway and still be dominant.
Straight up, and he probably would have done that if he did go to the Celtics.
Yeah, so he would have to win, like at least make the finals with the Celtics to stay on the Celtics for the coming years, or just don't trade. Like I think that was the options, and I would love to see what would have happened. Like alternate future, see what would have happened if AD went to the Celtics, and see what could have happened with that. But yeah, I don't know, man. That was just a random tangent I just went on, just because like we're in playoff limbo. We make the playoffs every year, but we lose in the first, second round. We make the Eastern Conference Finals every so often. We're like that good playoff team that never makes the finals, and we're just like in limbo, and it just sucks because I want to win at least one finals with Tatum. But
yeah, definitely. But
I don't know.
I don't know, dude. It's gonna like Brad Stevens has got to do something with the team, like something new.
Drastic.
Like, he has the young guys, you have the talent, but something is not working.
I don't know. I don't know what it is either. I really don't know.
What it. I mean, I don't know what it is either, and I don't think Brad Stevens even really knows what it is. Otherwise, he probably would have fixed it.
Yep, exactly.
You know?
And Danny Ainge would have probably grabbed somebody to fix that. But yeah, I mean that's it. Like again, we went on some multiple tangents for this podcast. We're like we're at hour and a half, 2 hours.
What the playoffs do. That's what the playoffs do, man.
I know. Okay, we have all previews, but I think next week we're gonna try to limit how much we talk about, unless there's something crazy that happened in the first couple of games. I think we'll just try to limit ourselves just the series that we're talking about. Like we'll talk about the Suns.
Honestly, I feel like we probably could have just kept talking as well, like just forever. Like,
yeah, I know exactly. There's a lot to talk
about playoffs and stuff. Like what's gonna happen like that.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but I think next week this is probably gonna be the longest podcast we've ever done. I might title it that, the longest podcast we've ever done. So it's gonna be a freaking force. Like it'll be goddamn, it's gonna be tough to edit. But yeah, I mean that's I'm gonna cut it here, and yeah. Till next week, boys. When we talk about like the first few games, we'll see you. Peace.
All right, peace.